I'm Juanisha and welcome back to another episode of Knit With Me in My Garden. However, this is supposed to be an episode of Knit With Me in My Garden. However, it's not, clearly. This is bed. So I finally uploaded an episode, not knowing whether or not people wanted the long form, but it seems to be tracking well, so it's time to film another one. Those in the know that about 7 weeks ago, I suffered a fall and got a head injury. So at some point there's going to be a concussion diary update, and it's just going to show the whole progression of what it's been like to have a head injury, time off work, and get back into work and all that kind of stuff. I'm still not there yet, but I'm getting there. And the reason why we're not outside today is that I have just been away on a road trip because I had to go and accept an award. Well, I didn't have to go and accept the award. I know, I didn't need to. I could have just not gone. I could have got it on the live stream and it could have been couriered. However, I went up. I didn't drive, but I passengered. And while I didn't overdo it, all we did was go up there, see my aunt and uncle, go to the awards. I didn't even try to interact with anybody too much at the awards because the irony is that I got a writing award and I can barely hold a conversation together in the afternoons. So while the boys have gone down south, I'm here by myself for a week. So I thought, you know what we'll do? Today is Bedrest. Maybe, well, I mean, I do need to do a 20-minute walk with the dog later on. So I might take him out to the... there's a reserve that's dog friendly, but I'm not going to go out while it's windy because the wind is really loud and it throws me in a bit of a tiz-was. So what we do have though is this box here, because while I've been on bed rest and while I've been, you know, trying not to do too much, I've got a little bit out of hand with my projects. And I know that the long time viewers will be thinking, what, you out of hand with projects? You're so onto it. No, I'm not. This bag is the least disorganized of all of them. The reason why we've got this crazy angle is I figured I might actually be able to show you some bits and pieces. So this is my road trip sock. I'm very happy with the first one. It's a double-stranded hand-dyed yarn because I wanted to do a DK weight sock on the drive. But it does have this lace pattern, and while I was knitting it I thought, I know a way of making it like masculine but not lacy, so I finished that one and I've got that far through this one. What I do need to do is film the stitches for the lace pattern, because this video will come up in Socktober, because my Socktober videos have taken a wee turn, because actually getting the number of sock videos I need for Socktober is a bit of a challenge. So these are the balls. This came from the Joy of Yarn. So James Herbison dyes this yarn here. I can't remember the colourway. Not a clue. Either way, he balls it up on site in the shop, which is very nice. So that was fun. Met some new people while he was balling up my yarn before we went on the road trip. So there's this one. So that one's good to go. I'm happy with that in the bag. Then this was my backup sock yarn. In case I finished this pair of socks. It was a 2-day road trip, man. There's no way else I should be finishing that many. This is a 4-ply. It's glittery, rainbowy. So I've got some plans for it, but obviously I haven't started it, so that can go into another project. Here's my sharp pointies. I did talk about sending my partner up to his son's wedding with a pair of knitting needles and a pair of scissors and some just lengths of yarn that he could throw in the bed, just in case he missed me. My Google for Education mini tripod, and this is a brooch from, I don't know if it's focusing, Wilder, and it's from the Strawberry Shortcake collection. I think it's better, not a clue. It's a butterfly. I thought it was very... Marmalade the butterfly. Marmalade? I think it's marmalade. Either way, It's very pretty, and I was wearing it on my cardigan. I have no idea what to do with these. These two things do not belong in this project bag. We will make a pile of things to organise. Here we've got some baby yarn. We've got a white sock that I've never finished, and I must have started knitting it. Oh, has that got a crack in that? There might be a crack in that knitting needle there. I must have started knitting it on an absolute whim, because instead of a stitch marker, what we've got is the key for tightening up your circular needles. Yeah, I've gone off using the Leica driftwood needles because they break so easily, and as soon as you get like a little crack, it pulls on the yarn and it's just unpleasant. So these are my baby yarns that I took up with me because this is the 24-hour play competition. I was like, how many pairs of baby socks can I knit? This singular pair that I haven't even done the ends in for yet. So I do need to finish off that video. Actually, I need to do the last bit and get that ready to go up. But these aren't as skinny as they look. It's a 2x2 rib, so it pulls it in quite nicely. But one pair. So what have I got here? I've got a safety pin. What was I using the safety pin for? I don't know. Please don't acknowledge the fact that I'm just shoving it straight into the curtain there. It's what I'm doing. And then these needles here, what have we got? One of these is going to be a 2.5 and one's going to be a the 3mm, and I think looking at them they're all the Chargu ones, but they're different lengths. Being different lengths makes it easy to work out which pair is which. I really like this length for knitting socks, which I think is the 60cm, and then that's the 40, I think. Now I have to remember, and I'm going to say this out loud, when I'm buying fixed circulars, which by the way, I swore off of fixed circulars a long time ago, but since then I've come full circle and I'm 100% on board with fixed circulars for doing sock knitting, if nothing else, because I don't like that. Doesn't matter how much you tighten the needle up, it's always going to find a way to unravel itself. So fixed circulars is what I use for sock knitting, but I always forget that when you're ordering them online, it's measured from tip to tip. It's not the length of the cable, and I always think, well, what's the length of the cable that I'm after? You know, because I really want this cable to be this length, which is about 40 centimeters. So I order the 40 centimeter ones and then wonder why they're short stubbies. So there's those. I do like both of those needles. What will I do though? I don't need to keep this many projects in this bag. What else have we got here? We've got a singular cashew. Do I eat a slightly cursed cashew, or do I throw it down there to the dog? I throw it down there to the dog. Some generalized dust, which am I going to just throw the whole lot off the bed? Yes, I was just going to go shake, 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 and then be good to reload it. Back in there, in that project bag, which I got for my birthday, I'm going to put this sock knitting project, and I will put the baby knitting one in there just so that I remember to finish off that video. Do I want to put my baby knitting sock needles? If I put my baby knitting sock needles in there with a ball of yellow, I might do a yellow ball, and then I can put these on hold. It's also a 2.5mm needle, but I don't like the short length. Okay, so I'm going to put that over here on hold as a project to deal with later. Okay, what have we got here? We've got tape measure. This one I think has come out of my sewing kit that I got for my birthday. Maybe that'll appear. Maybe I do this bag next, because this one I like keeping next to the bed. It's just the bag that the Daiso one came from. I've still got the tag on it. Right, what have we got? We have got this pair of socks that is nearly done. Now this pair of socks that's nearly done, Where's that ball of yarn gone? Okay, so, what am I pulling up there? Am I fishing for bits and pieces? No, it's just gone around the power cable. What's at the other end of this power cable? Is there anything at the other end of this power cable? No, nothing's being plugged in. So, there we go. We've got, this is a black lamb's wool sock. It's a very nice yarn, but I don't recommend anything with black yarn on 3mm needles to make men's socks. With contrasting heel and toes. Basically what I'm trying to do is come up with as many projects as possible to use up the leftover bits of sock yarn that come when you finish making a pair of socks. So this first sock is done, and I'm putting it in this pile for a reason. And this sock, I just need to do the toe for. But obviously, I don't need to do the toe in this lamb's wool, but I do want to keep the lamb's wool with the sock for the moment anyway, because somewhere in my pile is going to be the contrasting colour and I'll be able to finish that off. So that's that. What else is in this bag? This here is vintage 4-ply yarn that came from my mother's stash, and this is, oh, what's that? Something's got caught up in there. This is what I was using to make the lacy bookmarks. I still haven't made a tutorial for the lacy bookmarks, which is probably why this yarn is floating around in this box still. Am I going to do that while the boys are away? Maybe I am. We'll see. So, what have we got here? We have got, this is a ball of Windsor. So this is just a DK wool, and that's what I used for Kahu, the swamp harrier. That brown is also from there. So that's yarn that needs to go back into storage. This is one of my needle cases. Now, at some point, I do want to sit down and rationalize where my needles are, because this is a great case. This was from a Hobie Christmas Advent thing. I've missed out on the Hobie Christmas one this year, not because I couldn't get it because we're not in the right delivery zone, because I'm in New Zealand. Initially that's what it was, and then I realized I could go through UShop, and because the Christmas Advent thing, I could get it up to like the free shipping, and I could get it sent to UShop, and then I could just ship it from England to here myself. But in the amount of time it took to set that up and realize that the amigurumi pack sold out, and then the knitting pack sold out, and I really don't want the crochet pack because I haven't finished the crochet pack from last year. But this pencil needle case has now gotten to full with stuff. I mean, this is a small pink bit that my niece made when I was working with her over one family get together. That's a piece of yellow yarn. That's some dog fluff. There's a cable needle. This is a bit of black sock yarn that I use for sewing eyes on things. Here's a pony bead. Here's a point protector that I couldn't find when I was wanting to put a point protector on one of my pointy needles about a year ago, and it would have been in here. So there's a couple more pony beads. There's random crochet hooks. There's random pens. There's double pointed needles. So what I want to do is to rationalize it. So I've got another pencil case floating around, and I figure I could turn one into the crochet one and one into the knitting one. I almost feel like this might work better for knitting, but also Annie made me a pouch for needles, so I might use that too. So at some point that's going to get rationalized. I think actually what I'll do for right now is I'm going to put this tape measure into this container so that I don't lose the tape measure again. Right, here's the second ball of this vintage 4-ply. It's an eagle, and it says worsted. It's not. It's 4-ply, but I've got 2 balls of that. I think I had 3 to start with. Oh, and there is an unblocked lace bookmark. They're very thin when they're blocked, and they do sit really flat, so they work lovely as bookmarks. So I've got one finished that I need, well, not finished, but I finished the knitting for it, and then I need to make the tutorial. Velvet scrunchie goes on the goes on the cupboard handle for now. These things, I still have this pile. I do need to sit and create the little baggies out of my scrap yarns with that at some point. That's going to go back in, oh, a band-aid. What to do with the band-aid? I'll put it in the pile of things to organise. More pens and things. I'll put them in here for now. Which is how this case gets quite full quite quickly. Right, so we've got, these are these are, what do you call them? The sour worm candy thingies, but in plush form. I've got these two done. These are going to be for my nephew for Christmas. I figure if I just work on them when I've got some of this yarn and I'm just sitting here, I can just get some churned out. The problem is that I didn't have any of this yarn sitting around next to the bed. So I do have all of these. These are heat-free hair curlers, I believe. So my plan is to do a whole stack more of these and put them in a big baggie, and he will get that for Christmas, because last Christmas he asked for a bag of worms. He got a box of so many worm candies, it wasn't funny. So this year I'm going to do the same thing. Right, so this is the yarn that I used for the flesh colour on my reverse mermaid. Now I do have another two semi-human doll projects. One of them I had expected to have started by now, but then I got whacked in the head instead. So this here I will hang on to, but I need to find the other bits and pieces. This blue yarn here, other than this fluff, is from the Daiso crochet bag challenge that I gave myself. That one, I could use it with this. It is very similar, so maybe I'll keep that there. That's more of the Kahu. There's two Zaddy Crafts vegetables. I don't know where to put these. I keep meaning to make the rest of them. The carrot, of course, glows in the dark, and the turnip has my heart. So there's those. They need to go somewhere. This bag isn't it. This here is one that I need to get started on. This is a 2 at a time sock pack. Well, it's not even a 2 at a time sock pack. It's a sock pack for identical socks. I've done them before from Darn Good Yarn, and I think somewhere in this pile, I might even be able to see it and pull it out of the box. I have got one from Darn Good Yarn that's in process. What I was hoping to do for Socktober is a 2 at a time sock knitting video. However, here's where my 2 at a time ones are, that this is not even ones that I need to finish for the video. I just found them ready to go. Like, I had redone part of the sock length, but it hasn't been a go-to to pick up really since I got concussed. So yeah, so there's the two balls. So it has basically two balls that are supposed to be identical, so you end up with two identical socks. These are not quite wound identically, but they're identical enough that you can do them 2 at a time and they come out the same. Do I just make a little bag that's going to be sock knitting projects that are on the go. Probably. It might be sensible. My pile's growing. What else is in here? We have got... Oh, this pattern. No, you don't want it. I was so excited about it, but I've never had such an epic fail. You'll see shortly. What else is in here? We've got... That's just a yarn label from a Daiso yarn. That is advertising Unwind Fibercraft Retreat in Dunedin next year. I might hang on to that. I don't know if I'm going to go. I think I'm going to be too busy. But I want to go at some point because it's going to run in opposite years to the Wairarapa Wool Weekend. This here sees Miss Maud, and I've opened it at least once, and I think this was a freebie gift from the Wairarapa Wool Weekend. And what's in it? Ah, that's right. It's got a discount code that I didn't end up needing or using. A suede handmade label, 4 of these stitch markers in different colours, and an incredibly lovely shell button. The shell button I'm very excited about. I haven't used the other things, so that can go back in the little baggie. I don't know what to do with this. Actually, I do know what to do with this. I do have a box of random craft supplies and tools that I don't want to take away from myself. But I don't want to... I'm just going to toss that rubbish on the ground and clear that up later. I don't want to put them back into storage. We're still tiny at the moment. Okay, so these are 2 of the little baggies with the wooden base that are made out of scrap yarn. So I need to find a place to put these as a project. It's probably going to be back in this bag, to be honest. Right. Strawberry buttons from a strawberry cardigan that I need to finish my strawberry cardigan for. More pens. Yeah, you can see this pencil case is getting quite full without me even doing much to it. I need to rationalise it all. We've got another yarn label from Windsor. That'll be one of these browns. So if I just tuck both of them in there, I'll remember, surely. I've got a project in mind for a Christmas Advent project. And I've got to get that sorted out this holidays. One post-it notes. A 6.5mm needle with a slight dent in it. So that needle needs to go into that container over there. But now it can sit down there. My post-its can go over here. A Curse to Labubu part set. Now I do have more of these because I did order some more after my initial order. A hand cream. This is Australian cosmetics company Goat's Milk hand cream in the flavour Pawpaw. I think my mother-in-law gave this to me. It's a very nice hand cream. So we may as well moisturise while we're here. I am realising that I'm hunching over to be into the shot just so that I can put all this in here. Right, the last thing in here is, this is a Just Love Stitch DIY cross stitch kit. And I do want to get started on this in the next couple of days because I loved doing this one. Now this one is... the bookmark, and the bookmarks come out lovely. I took my sister to this workshop, and then I've since sent this bookmark kit up to my Auntie Jo, and these are my leftovers from that project. And get back here. I do have a tiny pair of embroidery scissors there. Now, this kit here does have everything I need in it except the scissors. So I might take my project notebook and put my project bookmark in there, and actually start using the bookmark. That's nice. And then what I'll do is I'll take this. If I take this out of that horrible plastic bag, I can A, show you what's inside it, and B, I can pop it into this bag here. I'll just fold it over another time because that's my pattern. Right, if I fold that over like that, and I pop my pattern in here. Small handbag. I did play Lady Bracknell in The Importance of Being Earnest not that long ago. Well, not that long ago. A while ago now. But it was a thoroughly good time. Great play. Loved it. Right, how to cross stitch. All of the supplies, including the needle. And then this is the leather pocket with holes punched in it that goes on a leather handbag. So that's what the kit was. I bought one for me and one for my sister after we did the bookmark one, because we both have a birthday in August. So by doing that, that has now made that, make that rubbish go away. That's now smaller. This bag is going to go back to sitting on the side of the bed because I quite like it sitting on the side of the bed. Maybe I'll take this off now finally. Ow. Yeah, I take that off, put that there, chuck it over the side. As one does. Oh, it's got some dust in it. Chuck the dust over the side. Right, clean bag. What do I want next to my bed? Next to the bed, I'm going to put the worms in it, but I'm going to put them down on the bottom. I'm going to put the cross stitch in it at the side. I'm going to keep my buttons separate because I do have a pile of the strawberries on the go. And I would like to keep them together so that I'm inspired to actually finish and wear that cardigan, because I would like to do that before summer. I might put, I don't know, do I put, if I put this one and the other two at a time one in this bag next to my bed, that might encourage me to do that. My Miss Maud buttons need to go into my craft supplies. Yeah. These needles can be, well, I'm just going to hang them up there for now. And then I need a container for those. They need to be separated, I think. Right, okay. I can put that back over there. Projects to work on in bed, projects that need to go away. I'll put you with projects that need to go away into a different location. Here's a duck. It's a runner duck. I've got runner ducks. I love my runner ducks. However, I still haven't got around to releasing this pattern. I can't remember if I even have the notes written down for this pattern. But it looks just like my runner ducks and I love it so much. So it keeps resurfacing. I keep needing to do it. I keep not doing it. In the bag by my bed. Mariah Elizabeth's Character Guidebook 1. I have Character Guidebook 2 on the way. I have so many projects in here that I want to create, but I haven't done them. So there's that. So that can sit with my book. I may as well pull this one out. Better Homes and Gardens, is it? Or is it? Yeah, the Better Homes and Gardens Knit and Crochet 2025 collection. I need to make one of these projects. I haven't got there yet. Okay, this is Hobie Tweed Dreams. When I first saw it, I fell in love with the yellow. It reminded me of strawberries. I then bought the blue. Honestly, what even am I? This is the cardigan. The cardigan itself is finished, but what I need to do is darn in the ends, because I haven't finished that. I need to stitch on the buttons, because I haven't finished that, and I need to do the strawberries and stitch them on, and then it's done. Like, it's not a lot of work really to get it finished. It's just been one of those ones that's been low on the list of priorities, and it's a little bit large to just put into a project bag, for fear that I'll forget and not work on it. Clearly I have forgotten and not worked on it, because it's here. This is the yarn for doing the stems to the strawberries. If I put my strawberry buttons with it, and then I need to find where my strawberries are. You're a project, you can just sit here. You may notice that I've got the 6-day star blanket here. That's definitely something that needs sorting out. A bag of stuffing. This is going to become important, but it kind of needs to go with Middle of Boo Boo Face, to be honest. We'll see what we find. Okay, Southlander High Country Bulky. That's another one that can go back out and away. That's what I used for the scarf recently. This orange, now this orange here is for, I have seen these bits. Okay, they're separate. There we go. These here, one of my most stolen patterns, and by most stolen, this is the bit that gets me. I put the pattern together by request. It's free on my website. It's a set of pumpkin baby booties. It keeps appearing on Etsy for sale by other people. And we're not talking somebody's taken it and copied it. No, they've taken the photos, they've taken the thing, they've taken the whole lot, uploaded it, and they're selling it. So there's that. Anyway, I've remade it so it's a completely different pattern, and I'm going to update it and make a tutorial for it, but that needs to be finished. I also need to have a look at one of my mini pumpkin patterns, because I'm getting a lot of questions about one pattern, which usually when I get a lot of questions about a pattern, I think, oh no, there's a mistake in it. And I do know that pattern was written when I was recovering from surgery, so it's very likely it's got massive mistakes in it. There's another bit of fluff. Right, so that one needs to go into a project bag. I also need to find out where my green yarn is, so that I can do the leaf and stem bit with that. Then we've got these. This is Colour Lab by West Yorkshire Spinners. It does tell me that I'm now starting to lose some of my syllables, so I should probably cut this short. It's the first sign that I'm turning into Swiss cheese, really. I've got 7 colours of this Colour Lab. So I kind of want to get them all together again. I was using this box to hold it all, and I can go back to doing that. So I've got the green and the teal and the blue here. Orange and pink. There's the yellow. That's what's left of the first ball of blue. We're now on the rows that it's transitioning between the first and the second ball of each colour. And it's working out relatively evenly. That's a medical certificate for my time off work. Here's, these are my interchangeable needles. As you can see, there's a lot of them that are currently out and about. They do not need to be in this box, but I can see something that I do need to do. This is Mark 1 of a project, and I started knitting it and thought, it's all coming out wrong. I'm redoing it, so I redid it, and I'm much happier with the redo. Oh, I'm pulling it the wrong way. but I do need to wind this up because I was double stranding this yarn, and this yarn is, it's Heritage New Zealand Kid Mohair, and the colour is copper. It's beautiful, beautiful yarn. Very, very soft, but it didn't work to be double stranding it. It just wasn't necessary. So these are 4.5mm needles that I can then take off the cable again. I won't put you through taking them off the cable for now, but that can put those puppies back in here. Yes, I know I haven't removed the cable from the top. I'm not going to remove the cable from the top right now. I'm just going to sit those in there so that I know that it's there. I'm going to take my stitch marker and I'm going to put my stitch marker back in my sharp pointies so that I'm not constantly losing stitch markers. This is the purple from my star crochet blanket. Now I bought this yarn first of all up at at Knit August Nights a while back, and then Goodwall Hunting opened up in Greytown, and then I picked up some more because I realised I didn't have enough colours for what I wanted to do. Right, here's another piece of Labubu, but you'll notice here, this is the big one. So I now kind of think I need to get a big Labubu to get my proportions right, because I do have my Labubu hanging right here, or one of them anyway. I do quite like the Labubu actually. I started off finding them creepy, but yeah, I've figured I've got to the point now where I'm not creeped out by it at all. All right, so when I double stranded this, I was smart enough to pull from the outside of the ball and the no, I wasn't. I thought I don't remember pulling from the outside of the ball and the inside of the ball. Maybe I did. I must have used 2 balls, but yeah, I'll get this unraveled. I'm not usually a big fan of unraveling stuff because sometimes I just like to keep things as a prototype so that I can look back and go, okay, so that's what I didn't like about the process. So the whole thing about frogging, I find exhausting because I want to be able to see what the mistake is and where the mistake is. That, and it's all wobbly now. It would be fantastic if I was making a doll and I wanted curly hair. However, I'm not making a doll and I don't want curly hair, so it's now just in the way. I know that if I wash the yarn, the crinkles come out. If I steam the yarn, the crinkles come out. So I could just do that. Obviously, I'm probably not going to get around to just doing that. So there's that. And I'm not very good at doing the thing where you untangle stuff and frog stuff in a sensible manner. I'm not very good at winding as I go. I feel like I could just get Dave to hold the other end and wind it myself, or sometimes I try to be smart and put it onto the thing that you use with the spinning wool to create your skeins and hanks. What's that called? It's not the Swift, that's the umbrella thing. Wool winder? No. I can't think what it's called, but I've got one and it works quite well to just wind it back into a hank so that you can wash it. In the meantime, I'm suffering life regret. So much life regret. I'm just creating a big tangle. The real question is, do I just continue winding up this and make you watch it while I rant, or do we move on and go through more of the box? Honestly, I don't know. Right now I'm doing this. I keep feeling like if I put it down, it's just going to be left in a big bundle and I'm not going to get around to untangling them, or worse, at some point I will just pick up a pair of scissors and chop the bit off, and this bit will go into scrap yarns or projects where I'm teaching someone to knit. But the yarn is too good for that. It's such a nice, high quality, interesting fibre content yarn that I should cherish it and use it for something else. It's not a colour that I'm going to reach for straight away. Either way, this can go back out into the stash. This bit here tells me that at some point I may have well broken the ball of yarn off of my knitting for ball 2 or something, rather than double stranding from the same ball. I don't know. Right. So that I could pick up that safety pin, and if I just safety pin it onto the outside like some sort of crazy woman, that way at least I know that that's that. This is an epic fail project. I'm going to put that into my finished project storage bin so that I've got it. Right, this you're going to see probably relatively quickly. I picked these up last night. There's 40 meters, I think, on each one. And I'm going to attempt a project. I don't know what to do with it now, though. I don't know how to not lose all the bits. Is that going to work? Right, they're at least all stuck together, but needs a project bag. Oh, here we go. That is the heel of these socks here. So those socks can be finished tonight, perhaps. Right, this yarn I bought years ago when I first wanted to start knitting socks, because I thought it was a sock yarn. I'm not sure it's a sock yarn now. It's acrylic cotton and wool. It just says feral effect. It doesn't tell me what it was for. So I don't know what to do with it, but I know I've got 2 balls of it. I don't know where the other ball is now, but it's in my return to stash pile. Ugh. This yarn. Okay, I'm still working on the Hobie Easy Summer Cardi cowl. It's months since it should be finished. No, maybe about a month since it should have been finished. Either way, it's not finished. It's sitting down there in a different container, and I just need to come back to it. This is a beautiful hand-dyed sock yarn. It should not be in this box. As simple as that. But I think I brought it in to work on my scrappy socks. This is my, what do you call them? Noise cancelling headphones. They are in disrepair. They need to be replaced. But they're doing the job. So yeah, I don't think I'm going to need them so much in the next week. But I've been using noise cancelling headphones a lot with this concussion. Right, so I've got a collection of leftover sock yarn scraps from my sock yarn knitting, making my scrappy socks. So they need to go back out into storage. This is a headband. What have we got here? We have got a ball of 100% polyester knitting yarn. Is that a centre pull as well as an outside pull? I don't know. I think that's just a tail. I'll wrap that round there. And then I'll put that around the outside. Do I want that to go with my people project? It could go with my people project. We shall see. But this is the Hobie XL acrylic. This one I used for my star whale, but the reason why it's floating around again is that I was going to use this for a Mariah Elizabeth project. One of them was purple. Punchy? No. I don't remember. Right, here we've got a scrap of blue, and I think this is from the hot water bottle cover. That is such a small scrap of blue, but it is wool. So I'm going to put that out with my wool scraps. I didn't use the neck pieces when I was making my Labubu, but I haven't thrown them out. Okay, now my Labubu. I made my Labubu using this yarn here. Now the problem with this yarn here is that it doesn't tell me anything about it. So I feel like it was a terrible idea designing a pattern using this yarn, even though I love my Labubu. I love how this yarn turned out. I am going to pick up some more of it to make the big Labubu. I'm going to make another Labubu for one of my students at school. But because the pattern calls for making a face, gluing on the face and then making a hood, if your tension or your yarn is different from mine, or you put more stuffing in, it creates a bit of a problem there. So yeah, I do have a supply of velvet yarn floating around somewhere, but that's going into my Labubu packet. Here's one of my daffodils. I have made many daffodils in my time now, and I keep meaning to rewrite up the pattern for both the crochet and the knit daffodils. But the reason why I keep putting it off is that we're seasonally out here in New Zealand from where most of the people are watching, and I should realize that it doesn't matter because I'm posting out of context, out of order the whole time, particularly in September. No, not September, October, when I'm doing socks. My sock projects usually take me most of the year because socks take longer. So it takes me most of the year to build up enough sock projects for a full month of knitting. So there's that. Anyway, that's my daffodil. It does need to be written up at some point. Am I just going to dump it straight there? No. That can go in my pile of things to go away. This is my new set of Clover and More hooks. I don't know what the dog's barking at, because I thought that I didn't have the sizes that I needed, but it's turned out so far that I haven't used the 4mm at all, but I keep using the 4.5, 5.5 and 5. I thought I was going to end up going to the 6 at one point, but I haven't. And I haven't done anything that goes down to the 2 yet, but those can go with my double pointeds. These are the needles that came free with the magazine. These are 15mm knitting needles. They're plastic. And there is also a plastic crochet hook in the middle. So I figured that I should probably find what projects those relate to, because there's so many patterns in that book, but they're not all for 15mm needles. So yeah, that's why I haven't done one yet. That is the cable from the table cable. That is the tag from one of my Christmas presents. There's a Colour Lab. But that's a receipt for buying yarn and yarn supplies. A tiny piece of stuffing. I'm going to stick that in this Labubu bag. This is some bubble wrap that needs to go into recycling. That's the brand of this blue. But I'm not worried about keeping it because it's not one of my favourites. Oh, another pencil. But it's preferable to the one that I've used for Kahu. It's not bad, but I can't get hold of it that easily anymore. That's a deodorant. That doesn't belong in my box. This is my other purple. And then, what have we got here? This is an Addy 4mm sock knitting needle, and this is another Addy 4mm sock knitting needle, and this one is another Addy 4mm sock. They were having such a good sale. That is the charging cable for my headphones. And then this is the Colour Lab DK British wool sock yarn. It is, so it's 75% wool, 25% nylon. It's DK and it's designed for socks. Last year, I think, did I get pop? Last year for Christmas, in the Christmas stockings, I made us all a pair of socks from this range. They're named after musical styles. So this one is punk. The last one I had, I think, was pop. And we might do jazz next year, unless somebody can put me onto another DK weight sock yarn, because I specifically want a DK weight sock yarn. I did used to get a whole stack of opal sock yarns that were DK weight, but I haven't in a wee while. That's good wool hunting, if you're interested. One of my favorite companies. They're local and I love them. I need to throw those in the bin. Okay, what else do we have here? We have got Windsor in black. We have got part of a cardboard box. What do I have part of a cardboard box? Oh, they used it when packing the box. Right, rubbish. Okay, so do I want to put things back in this box? I actually kind of do, because I do want to put particularly the star blanket in the box, because it's so easy to just pick up the box if it's got all the colours in it, put the box on the bed and just go. So if I now pick that up gently does it, Juanita, gently, don't kill anybody, and then that can sit wherever I'm going to be working on it and work on it there. That leaves me with my strawberry cardie to sort out, my baby socks, my little baggy project to sort out. Right, here's another sock yarn end that needs to go back out into storage. You could just sit over here like a very good boy. Okay, what have we got? These knitting needles and the crochet hooks and the books. Oh, honestly, I'm surprised as to how much was in that box, if nothing else. I'm going to need a nap after this. Such a nap. Oh. Okay, we're down to the last wee bits, which is good, because we're all ready to be done. Okay, so this here is, I think it's called Passionate, and it made me giggle. I was going to send a picture of it to Passionate Kelsey, because it's spelt the same way as she spells Passionate Goods. But my conundrum, and why I haven't finished the pumpkin booties, is that do I go with this green, which I think goes with the orange better, or do I go with this green, which I think I used on the tea cozy last, which also, I think it's this one. So that one can go back out into storage. Then we've got, right, this is the red one that is Checkerton. Is it Checkerton? It's the same as the blue one. So this is the wool one. It's an Australian wool, and I'm fairly certain it came from Lincraft. It was quite easy to get, and I used it for the Cursed project and the hot water bottle projects. This is a Kmart acrylic DK, and I did have this floating around, and I keep meaning to do those Great Masters tapestry crochet projects, but I just haven't got started on it. This is I mean, I know they look the same, but I can tell the difference. This is sheepsies. This is a sock yarn, and this is very hard wearing. I put this on the heels of the socks for my partner because he wears them in his gumboots, and I find that this has just got it's got so much strength to it. It's Norwegian, I think. I don't know. It reminds me of like Norwegian ice farmers or something. And it shouldn't remind me of it because I don't know anything about Norwegian ice farmers, but somehow it reminds me of it. But I'll put all this together in a project bag. And then we've got the return of the daffodil. This ball of yarn, which is quite cursed. This end of yarn, which I think is the last of the yellow, that's the same as the Checkerton Country, that I used that on the hot water bottles as well. This one's looking so messy. So that's the centre pull part. You know, I should sit here with my wool winder and just rewind stuff up that's gotten like this, but I'm not going to, because it turns out I am an agent of chaos. I mean, we all know I'm an agent of chaos, but there's that. So I'm attempting to wrap the outer part around the outside, and then I'll just have to worry about the centre pull part in a moment. But I can feel that I'm doing a great deal of concentrating, and the amount of concentrating that I'm doing is definitely reflective of the fact that I have definitely pushed myself over the last few days. I have tried to get away from having my afternoon nap because my occupational therapist has said to me that yeah, it's fine to have a nap, but the circadian rhythms, yada yada yada, make sure that you are not napping past 2 p.m, which, you know, sounds perfectly reasonable, only I can't get home from work on a half day even and get into bed before sort of 1:30, because I finish at 12:35. So if everything goes according to plan, I finish at 12:35, I hop straight in the car, I come home, I'm home sort of 15 minutes later. So yes, technically I could be in bed by 1 and have an hour's sleep, and sometimes I manage that, but mostly I don't manage that, because there's always something that needs doing, or someone comes in to ask a question right at the very end before I leave, and I don't have the heart to not answer them. And then I'm well and truly Swiss cheese. And then I get home, and when I get home, I am very, very definitely in need of food and a drink. Yeah, so there's that. Right. And then the last little bit of yarn, we've got this white piece here, and I think this white piece is from this Windsor ball, to be honest. So I'll pop that in there to go with that. So I've got, oh, there's my other ball of those. I have got one, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sock knitting projects, 9 if we count the booties, just here, not including this one that hasn't started for Christmas, or any of the other random sock wools that are floating around. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 balls of wool that can go back into storage. You're in the wrong pile. I've got 1 easy to finish project, 2, oh, well, this one's on the go. Some projects that haven't been started. Actually, if they haven't been started, I think what I'll do is I will just put them into bags and label the bags. I've got a box over there of projects in bags that are labeled with the yarn of what I want to do with them. But mostly if I can get even just this yarn back into storage, I will feel like I've succeeded in getting something achieved today without getting in or out of bed again. And somewhere I do need to put all my Labubu project bits. So I need to find the rest of the Labubu project bits and get that sorted. So, thank you for coming along and organising yarn with me. Even though we're not outside in my garden, we're not experiencing any sort of beautiful weather, we're just here rolling yarn on the bed so that I can pretend that I'm having bed rest. In the meantime, if you want to catch anything else that's in this playlist, I will link it up here. YouTube probably will recommend something else. Well, actually, YouTube will recommend something up there. I'll put the playlist down there. And if you want to follow along and subscribe, I'll put that in the top corner. In the meantime, take care of yourselves, and I will catch you next week. Bye.